afternoon to all who may be listening. My name is Alison, and I want to begin this brief message of mine before getting into the rest of this incredibly moving and powerful podcast by thanking you for deciding to be here with us today. I think that you taking the time out of your day to choose to listen to these important messages and stories that you're about to hear demonstrates the type of person that you are in our society, and we are so happy to have you here. And I know that listening to, and not just hearing, the stories of others gives us such an incredible sense of understanding. Even if we cannot 100% empathize with somebody, listening to their story is so much powerful than any news article or resource, although they're amazing things to have. It truly begins with choosing to listen to somebody else's story. And as someone who is a public library worker, I know the importance of storytelling. I see it change the lives of our patrons every single day. And I also know that people may argue that libraries are outdated or irrelevant to a modern world of advanced technology, but the truth is libraries are more important now than ever. And I say that because helping people discover their stories and public resources are more important now than ever. And I hope that I'm speaking on behalf of your local library when I say that librarians all across the country have been working their hardest to deliver these things to your community, whether that's through doing diverse storytime programs or reading lists of Black authors, or sharing news articles about police brutality amongst the Black community, or resources on how to better understand white privilege. These are all things that your local library should be happy to provide, because this is the least we can do to represent our entire community. And I know that our library has been doing all of these things, and I am fortunate enough to work alongside of librarians who work their hardest to deliver challenging, diverse content to patrons of all ages. And I'm really proud to say that we have been working diligently since the beginning of this year to create a diverse summer reading program that we hope will get people to get uncomfortable and read about the experience of others outside their own. And we're also, so on that note, we're requiring patrons to read at least one book by a Black author, as well as one book by a person that identifies with the gender opposite of their own. And the reason we chose to do this is because our theme is windows and mirrors. And what that means is that books and the stories of others are either a window or a mirror. And that means you're either looking through the window into someone else's life when you read their story, or perhaps you see yourself represented in that person's story, and they're a mirror. We want our patrons to be able to listen to the stories that they're going to be reading this summer, and we want them to make actual connections in their minds. Like, why are they reading this, and how does it connect to themselves and present-day society? So we made those requirements in hopes that they would either be a mirror or a window for our patrons, and give them a sense of connection to that person, though they may or may not be represented in that person's story. So the stories that you're about to hear, I want you to ask yourself if they are a window or a mirror for you. Do these stories reflect your own, or are they a whole parallel universe to yours? Can you imagine being in the shoes of this person? I think that these are really important questions to ask today, and I hope that in making that connection, you'll be able to better understand yourself, the world around you, and or what you need to do to help lift up your brothers and sisters during this time. And lastly, let this podcast be a gateway to a fundamental and engaging conversation about how we can fight for the rights of our Black community. Continue conversating, continue learning, and continue listening. And I hope you enjoy today's podcast. Thank you.
Everyone but me raised their hand. Then he asked everyone with African descent, raise your hand. I raised my hand. Proud. He said,
yes.
CJ, bro.
Yes.
These are the cheetahs, and you're the gazelle.
Wow.
And I froze, and I hear smirks. Or not smirks, I hear giggles. And not what to say to them. And things just keep pushing. We keep pushing. And if I were a weak-minded person, I could have just sat there and let that haunt me in the worst ways possible. I could have let that make me weak. But instead, I smiled back at him.
Yep.
And I asked him, I said, how are them gazelles doing now?
What's wrong? I just been getting all into my feelings, cause nobody there when this shit get the realest. When everything hit my heart beat like a realist. But I just be chilling, I'm tired of feeling I can't shake this feeling, don't know what the deal is. I'm on my mind and then everything thinking that I'm not okay. Out of my face. She says she want me for life, for life. All I know, I don't wanna see her after tonight. When tomorrow comes, you gonna wanna kill my vibe. That's okay, a bottle of emotions all deep inside. And she come over and get that lace all up in my face. Think I wanna taste, I remember that kitty's ace. She switch up, get loud, now she all up in my face. Give it 2 minutes, your Uber will be pulling up to my place. She says she want me for life, for life. All I know, I don't wanna see her after tonight. When tomorrow comes, she gonna wanna kill my vibe. That's okay, a bottle of emotions all deep inside.
Hey man, I'm kinda drunk, man. I don't know if I can do this, man.
But I'm okay with just keep on pushing her to the side.
Well, I first just want to thank Derek for just inviting me and his friends onto this podcast. Just to
What's up, Sophia? Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. To invite
You're
us
right,
on,
girl. I'm popping off.
I feel like once we all talk together as one and start engaging conversations like this, it'll start to open up the floor for a lot of people. Man, what was the question you said? An instance in which I was profiled? Or?
Yeah, tell your story of either racial profiling, being oppressed, whether you've done. Everybody has their own story, John. Say your story you told at the library.
Got you.
Please. Everybody needs to hear that.
Absolutely. So yeah, growing up with 2 black parents in the household, who are, I guess the background isn't. Let me just put it this way. Okay, yeah, 2 black parents in the house, and I have me and my brother, and we're a really articulate family in terms of just the way that we speak. We don't have a lot of street slang or a lot of street code, street language. Thank God, because we don't we never had to live in that predicament. But growing up as a kid who was black, and the stigma and the stereotype of being black is, you got to have some sort of slang, or you got to mutter your words in such form or fashion in which that makes you quote unquote black. I think is very it's terrible. So when I had growing up in a high school environment, or not even that, an elementary school environment, where you're speaking in such a way where people are like, why is he speaking like that? You know what I mean? That doesn't make it, I was really out of touch with slang when people were saying, I was really late with what a jit mean, you a jit, man. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? You know what I mean? And I write rap, so the whole point of rap is kind of using a little bit of slang and here and there, but I was really late with that, and it kind of made me feel left out in terms of identity-wise. Man, am I really quote-unquote black? I remember there was this one person who called me an Oreo, which, if you guys don't know what an Oreo is where you're black on the outside, but you're white the inside. John,
listen, no, sorry to cut you off, but people used to call me that in middle school, Oreo.
Right.
So I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So it's just crazy instances like that. There's a story where last year, on Christmas Eve, I was actually coming home from, me and my parents were coming home from my aunts and uncles. We have a tradition where we go there for Christmas Eve. And we're coming back home. It was like late. It was like 10 o'clock. I get this phone call from my friends, and they just start to giggle. And I'm like, what are you guys giggling about? It's like 10 o'clock at night, man. Like, why are you guys not asleep? Christmas Day is like the next morning. And they said, oh, okay, man, let's pick you up really quick. Let's just go somewhere. I was like, and they were chuckling. I'm like, okay, what are you guys up to? So they said, don't worry, we'll pick you up within 15 minutes. So I'm like, all right, I'll be waiting for 15 minutes. I told my parents. They pick me up. They're like, hey, what's up, John? They start to laugh. And I'm like, guys, where are you guys taking me? And you know, when you guys have close friends, they just do dumb stuff just because they want to do dumb stuff. And you gotta appreciate for that. And but they're driving me. It's dark. And it's like going on 11 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And they're like, just ride and see. We're just going to take you somewhere. Just ride and see. And at this point, I was a little bit nervous. But I wasn't too nervous because it's like, you know, I'm always a person who's very structured and always wants insight on what's going on. Like, all right, what's happening? What are we doing here? What's this? Where are you taking me? What's the place? But turns out, background information. They went to this place before, just a park somewhere. I think it was like in the middle of the woods. But they didn't know that it was restricted. Like, you weren't allowed to be there. It was like it was a do not enter zone. But they didn't realize that, and they thought it was all good. So their intentions were to just, you know, drive me up to that place, talk to me, you know, just, you know, have a casual conversation or whatever. Just somewhere where I guess it was like a peaceful environment. But I had no idea because they were playing around, you know, they were just being, you know, whatever. So we drive up to the spot. Scenario being given, we're in the woods, turn the engine off, turn the lights off, and we're just a pitch black darkness, and it gets awkward for a couple of minutes, and we just start to laugh, and I'm like, guys, what the heck is going on? And they were like, you know, we just wanted to talk to you. We weren't trying to scare you or whatever. But
Wow.
Lo and behold, we see a car start to pull up, and we're both, all three of us are in the car. It was me, my friend, and my other friend. And I'm in the passenger, not in the passenger. My friend is in the passenger seat. He's black. My friend who's driving is, oh my gosh, I forget his ethnicity. He's not black, but he's not white. He's from the islands, let's say. I forget. There's so many branches off from the islands. But and then there's me in the back. And we see this car pull up. He doesn't. From what I remember, I don't think he had any siren or whatever to indicate that he was a police officer. But as he got getting closer and closer to view, we realized it was the police, and we were like, "Shoot! We don't smoke. Nobody was smoking. Nobody had alcohol." So we were, and I guess it's never a good confrontation when it's, you know, especially when you're black and that's a cop.
Right.
Point blank period. He comes up to view, pulls up to the side of us, and he goes, "What are you guys doing here?" And we were just like, we were paused, we were a little silent because we were really confused with what was going on. And, you know, my friend talked to the officer, said, "Oh, we're just here to park," and blah, 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 blah. And the cop said, "Do you know that this is a restricted area? You're not allowed to be here." And it kind of got us a little bit scared. And I think basically point blank of the story is, as for the driver's ID, I think he looked at the ID, gave my friend the ID, had his flashlight, looked in the back just to see if there was anything suspicious, which we had nothing suspicious. And he said, "Okay, you guys are free to go. Just don't do it again." I'm probably missing a whole bunch of other details, but let's just say that I was really scared. Everybody in the car was really scared. He drove off. I think he was waiting for us to leave, and he was following us for a good 10 minutes before he left. And he was like, my friend, as he's the most careful driver ever, he was just like tensing up, you know. He was just looking until he drove off. And I forget what place it was, but it was like maybe a half an hour out of Pottstown. And that's all we were talking about. I was really silent, and I guess, like, I think my friends were trying to shake it off. But me, I was just like really internalizing, like, what the heck was going on, you know? Thank goodness that, you know, maybe he probably let us slide because it was like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was right after, but like, we really don't know what the intentions were at that moment, you know what I mean?
Right.
All kids of color in the car. Tell me if I'm taking up too much time.
No, go.
But yeah, all three kids of color. So we don't know what racism was in the back of his mind. We don't know what stereotypes were planted in the back of his mind. Lord knows he could have thought we had a gun instead of pulling out the ID. Lord knows he could have made something up saying that our taillight was broken, or something smelled like marijuana in the car when we don't smoke. It's little instances like that. And at first I was trying to defend it. I was like, no, it can't be. It's just no racism. But looking back on it, it kind of makes you think like, you can't really say that. Because how do you know if this wasn't a racist part of town or if it's a well-known part of town and there's a specific part in that town that's racist? You never know. So it's from that moment on, I kind of looked at it as, different scenarios. What if it's me and you in the car, Derek, or
right.
What if it's, my family? What if I'm trying to take my brother out to eat? What if it's my own kids, What the heck am I, what am I going to do? So we're in this moment in time where it's very, we have to be really cautious and kind of reflect on what we're, it's just saddening. You can't even walk, you can't even jog.
Can't even breathe.
Exactly, you can't even breathe. So it's really, you never know, saying goodbye to somebody could be your last. It's really sad to kind of think about. But this is life, so.
What's up, Dante?
I want to put that on my chest.
Yes, thank you, John, for that. Thank you.
No problem.
Before we go into Dre, I just want to say something on to your point. With my story, I'm really glad I had Scarlett in the car, because if Scarlett wasn't in the car, I don't know what could have happened to me. I was alone. He already thought I was black, so he could have thought I was a danger if I was alone. He would have wanted to check the car. And me and Scarlett have been pulled over probably about 3 times. And I'm so thankful that I've had Scarlett in the car, because I don't know where I'd be now if I didn't. And that's fucked up, because I shouldn't feel that way. Nobody should feel that way. She brought up a good point. When you see a cop, no matter you're white, black, Asian, trans, a woman, a male, you tense up. They're supposed to protect and serve. You're not supposed to tense up when you see a cop. You're supposed to say, oh my God. So if some shit pops off, the cop's there to help. What they're supposed to do. Not like, oh my God, did I catch him on the wrong day? Like, is he having a bad day? Is he going to pull me over? Oh my God, do I have anything in the car? Oh my God. Bryce, rest in peace. They can come up to your house and just kill you while you're sleeping. Breonna Taylor. They can leave you in the middle of a street, hogtied. Marcus Dion Smith, Greensboro, 2018. There's a lot of others I'm leaving out, but I promise at the end of this video, I will be saying all the names of our fallen brothers and sisters. But those, you can't even sleep. You can't even breathe. George Floyd, you can't even play with a toy gun. You know how many airsoft and paintball guns people play with? And that's looked as a weapon? And you feel threatened just because of the color of their skin that they have an airsoft gun. That should not happen to anybody, no matter if you're white, black, Asian, etc. Like, that should not. The police are supposed to protect and serve. You're not supposed to be tense when you see a cop. I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dre. Your turn.
Well, I'm very involved in like the music or band community, so pretty much like marching band and stuff.
Right.
And I'm marching in this group called Pioneer Drum and Bugle Corps that I got kicked out of, and it's because this little white girl, not gonna name any names, she said I threatened to rape her, and 2 years, actually a month ago, she admitted to lying.
Wow.
About the whole thing.
Wow.
We'll get there. But it's because I sold my car for this white guy, because he was just, I felt really bad for him because he really wanted to march. I sold my Mustang that everyone's seen. I sold it for him so he could march. Literally put my ass out for him. And we're getting into the season and stuff, and a lot of people are disliking him because he's been slacking off and just goofing off and everything. And so we get on this bus, and he's has a thing for that girl that said I threatened to rape her and shit, and we're having a conversation, and so this guy that I sold the car for.
That's so dope.
Gets a.
I didn't know you could do that. Sorry,
Oh,
I didn't know you can do that with. That's so dope. Oh, hold up. Let me switch him around. Hold up. Let me switch him around.
I don't think you can switch them around. You can just move the person.
Hold
I
up.
can see it through your glasses. That's the funny part.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, sorry, Dre. Go ahead. You down here now.
No, you're fine. I was intrigued. But we're having a conversation about just like all the trans like people in Atlanta, and they supposedly got that mixed up, or that kid that I sold the car for got it mixed up with me threatening to rape her, and I said I'm not dealing with this idiotic bullshit anymore.
Right, as you should.
Keep in mind, I had this other like black guy beside me, also dreads. He's like, there's like 3 black people in this whole group, and the rest of them are white. Not minorities, the rest of them are white. And so she goes to tell the director and shit. And actually, it wasn't her; it was the guy, Victor. Oh, I said his name. Oh well. They're like talking to a lot of people.
The government already got all our names, so.
But they're talking to people that weren't even on the bus, that didn't even see it happen. They were asking her friends, and so I go talk to them because I get called in because I knew they were about to kick me out and stuff. I didn't really care. I told them that if you truly believe I threatened this girl, call the fucking cops right now, and we'll clear that shit up. They didn't have the balls to do it. I left. I got the first plane ticket out of there and left.
Wow.
And now, since all this stuff has happened, everyone on that bus has apologized to me and said they should have stuck up for me.
As they fucking should have. As they should. They owe you an apology. That girl.
And they did. I had to sit there and argue with them about it, though, and they said they felt really bad. They felt really fucking bad.
No, it's not they shouldn't feel bad. They literally looked at you as a liar.
That's the kind of thing that you can ruin your life over.
You can ruin your life. Like Dre, your life. What's going on, people? This is Instagram Live with...
Smoking and sitting for this shit.
Right. With Apple, Ty, Slim, Frostbite, myself, Scar. Boom. DJ Frostbite, what's up? All right.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. Some people, Skypes didn't work. Nobody was connecting. The government didn't want us talking. So, we had some technical difficulties. So where we last went off, we had myself, DJ Frostbite, Scarlett, Slim, and Roberto all talk. Now we have Ty, who fixed his problems with his Skype, and we have my older cousin, OP, just call him OP. And they're going to share their stories, and then after that, we're going to talk about like how we feel. So everybody in the beginning told their stories, and then everybody's going to tell how they feel. Like the raw, we need to talk about this. People don't always talk about the shit, and we need to talk about the shit. So, Ty, we were left off at you. Can you please start back what you were saying now that we got you clear?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I wanted to start with that James Baldwin quote.
Right.
That is, love does not begin and end the way we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is a growing up. And I think that provides a lot of light and a lot of confusion, because what people need to really realize here is that with growing comes growing pain, which means that as we move forward with this movement and we continue to try on, if things start getting comfortable, if things start getting easy, that's when we know we're starting to do it wrong.
Right.
And when things are more uncomfortable and when things are more uneasy, that's when you're making a real change. You don't work out. It's not an easy workout in the gym that makes a big bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying? Like we've got to keep having the difficult conversations, and we've got to keep moving forward, even though it might seem really, really dark and uncomfortable. And I think that quote does a really good job of encapsulating that sentiment, right?
Right.
And so I'm definitely like one of the white boys on the panel. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I don't really have any stories of this systematic oppression or or a time where I was wronged, particularly by a police officer. But I do see a problem. I want to say that I see a huge problem, and that problem is about 1/9 of our population is being treated like they don't belong with the rest of us.
Right.
Even though, they're people. They like to get drunk. They like to lie. They like to do good things. They like to do bad things. I mean, Jesus, it's not it's not any different.
No.
It's not different, right? So I hear, I'm a white boy from rural white America.
Right.
So I want to say some things that are going to make me really uncomfortable. I think the big thing is that makes me really uncomfortable is that I know what is said behind closed doors. And I know what's said behind the backs.
Right.
Of Black America.
Right.
And the conversation, I'm not going to get into specific details, but it isn't good.
No.
It isn't good. I know the regularity that the N-word is used.
Right.
To mean people.
Yes.
I know the regularity and the conformity of putting a child into a box and telling them what they can do or can't do from a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, when I hear that there is no systematic racism, and when I hear that there is no problem or all lives matter, it makes me really angry because
Ty, let me stop you right there real quick. So I was talking to some people, and all lives don't matter. The rapists, the child molesters, the other people who do sick things, the people who shoot up schools, they don't matter. I'm sorry, they do not matter because those are what are making the other people look bad. Mm-hmm. Like people going undercover as protesters, trying to make the protesters look bad. Those people's lives don't matter. And like if you try like I know I'm not saying you, but like I've had people on my Facebook say all lives matter. No, so like, and I never thought about it this way until I had Scarlett and another person who is white change my view on that. That not all lives matter, because I never thought about really when I sat down about it that includes the rapists, the child molesters, the people who shoot up schools, the people who have. I have a client that I work with. He loves watching like on the History Channel men and women who like notorious killers, like John Wayne Gacy. There's a lot of women that nobody talk about that like kill people. There's a lot of women that kill people. It's not just men, it's women too.
It's higher percentage men.
It's a higher percentage men. Yeah, it's a higher percentage men, but it's not just men too. It's women. Kids kill. They take guns into school. Like, they beat people up, leave them in the streets, and like, it's disgusting. Like you said, Ty, like I'm tired of people saying that it's a myth or it isn't real. Like, are you blind? Are you blind? Sorry, I just needed to add to that. Go ahead, Ty.
Right, no, you're totally right. And I mean, when we see these ridiculous numbers coming out, like 40% of nonviolent incarcerations
right.
are African American.
Right.
When I think they're 11% of the population. So I mean, that number is ridiculous.
Right.
That number clearly calls for change. So it does. It really pisses me off when I hear somebody say all lives matter, because it's been said before, all lives matter can't be true until Black Lives Matter.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Here we are on this sticking point where, like I said, we have an enormous population of United States that's being treated as subhuman.
Right.
And or you know, a different class, and that is totally ridiculous, and it is absolutely an issue because, like I said, I can hear the vernacular surrounding,
right.
When black people are brought up in a conversation of a room full of rural Americans.
Right, and that shows your character, and that shows everybody else's character because you realized it. You know it happens. You've been through it. You've heard the people who've said behind closed doors, wow, that guy's the N-word. Wow, he's so ignorant. This and that and that. Wow, I don't like black people. Wow, I don't like this and this and that. You've experienced it, and you are using your privilege to get your message out there that it's not quiet, like it's very loud. People do it all the time behind closed doors, and this is what the people need to hear. We all have to get raw because nobody likes to talk about everything, and I hate when people like to talk about history, like for example 9/11. Why do we have to always remember 9/11? But when we bring up and try and educate slavery, it's a problem. Why is that a problem? When 9/11 happened 19 years ago.
They want us to remember that people of color, even though that is debatable, that people of color caused 9/11. They want us to remember it because of that. They don't want us to remember slavery because white people started it.
Yes.
They want to write the history of a winner and not give the whole story.
And the fucked up thing that I just learned, from my aunt that I never knew until getting back into my heritage. Our people sold us to white people. Our people sold us to white people. And if you are watching this right now, on YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you're watching this, live, Instagram Live, if you people really think that none of this goes on behind closed doors in front of your face, it took a 17-year-old girl to film George Floyd to make the entire world see what the fuck is going on in America. And I'm sorry, it's not just America. There's human trafficking. That's in all countries. There's slavery a thing. In Hong Kong, if you fucking steal, you get your hand cut off. They believe in an eye for an eye. They believe in an eye for an eye. And if you think...
There's
other countries.
I seen videos. A dude stole a sack of potatoes. Man, they lit this dude on fire for stealing a sack of potatoes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In Russia, they're still out deliberately looking for gays and trying to burn them all.
Yep,
right.
That happens.
And there are still Nazis in Germany.
There's still Nazis here.
There's still Nazis here. The KK. I shared a article 2 years ago, before all these protests. There were KKK meetings in Lancaster, right up the street from me.
There were KKK meetings in Boone as well.
In Boone, North Carolina, where we both lived for a short period of time. It happens. And if people, this is, I was talking to a whole bunch of people. We need to talk about this shit. No matter how raw, no matter how difference of opinions we might have, we all come from different backgrounds. We're all of different age. We range from 30 to 19. We all we've lived life differently. We all have different experiences. And if the more people talked about this stuff and actually listened and respected people, it wouldn't have took the murder of George Floyd to wake America the fuck up. Mm-hmm. It would have not took the tip of the iceberg for the largest civil rights movement in history. And Ty and Nick, you guys weren't here when I told the other group. But the day after, I love saying this because it's so crazy. The day after Martin Luther King was assassinated, there was the March on Washington. 200,000 plus people marched in Washington fighting for black lives. Okay? And at the time, there was only 40 million black people in the world at the time. This was back in the 1800s. There was only 40 million black people. We are a population now of 7.6 billion across the world. Across the world. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. I haven't checked the statistics, but that was last year. Maybe it's higher. But still, 7 billion to 40 million? Like, that's a big jump. And if you don't think people's lives are at stake or people are not going through this, then you, my friend, are closed-minded. You don't have your third eye open, and you're a sheep in lion's clothing. Sorry for ranting, Ty. Please continue.
That's cool. It's cool. I like it. But yeah, so when I hear somebody say that there isn't a problem, it's absolutely ridiculous, because I know, and I know how much work it takes and how much work I've had to put in to change my entire system of reality. Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, they had me believing that shit for a little while. They had me sipping on that fucking Kool-Aid, man. And it comes in the nicest packages. Like, and family, and they try to tie it up in Christian values, and that is just not the case. And if anybody doesn't think there is an issue, I would sincerely recommend that they step outside their system of reality and do a serious check, because there is a pretty huge problem of systematic oppression in the United States.
Right.
And I kind of want to move now to my next point, which is like voting. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're crystal.
Okay, word. Yeah. I want to come through on my next point, which is voting. And the first thing I want to say is I absolutely believe that democracy is too slow and voting is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to be said.
As our boy J. Cole said.
Isn't important.
As our boy J. Cole said. Shout out J. Cole.
Sure. Yeah, it's absolutely too slow. But like I said, that doesn't mean we don't vote, because voting in all reality takes probably 2 hours of your life, and not
even Ty, not even. It doesn't take 2 hours.
Man, it took me 15 minutes to vote for the 2016 presidential election, baby.
I was being very generous.
Right. You were being you didn't have to be that generous.
yeah, right. So
tell them how it is.
Not just voting, but active voting.
Right.
There's a ballotpedia.org.
Nice. Nice plug.
ballotpedia.org, and they have a lot of candidates listed in local and federal elections that lists what those candidates have believed in and some of the things that they've done to sort of make those beliefs a reality, rather than just talking out of their asshole and saying a bunch of things and then doing another thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that website is a great source for information for your candidates.
Hey Ty,
and
can you say the website one more time?
Yeah, it's Ballotpedia, BALLOTPEDIA.org.
Thank you.
And that's a really great nonprofit website where you can go and look at your prospective government officials and come to decisions based on that. And it doesn't take forever. You can read that and in probably 15 to 20 seconds understand whether or not you want to actually vote for the person.
Exactly.
It doesn't take long.
Exactly.
It doesn't take long. So I think the biggest, most important thing that we can do right now is in November to go cast a vote against Donald Trump.
Amen.
Fuck Trump.
Don't vote for Biden either.
Don't vote for Biden either. He's
just vote for not Trump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the uneasiness that he's fomenting.
Right.
And the absolute gibberish that he speaks when he gets up and tries to lead the nation.
Right.
And the misinformation that he sends out.
Right.
Is absolutely just throwing gasoline on a fire.
Right. He's a celebrity as the president. He's a celebrity as the president.
Right.
Always
Right.
do it.
No political.
So I think.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. So I think the biggest thing that we can do at the moment,
Right.
is to keep protesting, to keep on with civil disobedience,
Right.
but also get in there and do your civic duty and vote, because whether it works or not, the time commitment is very low, and if you want to talk a bunch of junk about corrupt local officials, then you should know about corrupt local officials.
Right.
Yep.
Listen,
right.
listen. Here's a fun fact that I was looking up. In where I live, in Reading alone, I looked it up. There is a, I forget what the act is. The Freedom of Information Act? Is that what it's called?
Freedom of Information Act?
Is that what it's called, that allows you to get public information? Yeah, okay. So I was looking up like unsolved cases in Reading, and there is a lot of unsolved murders and cases that police just fizzle out and don't care about. They may be on the books, but no justice has been served. And like, it's not just in Minnesota, it's everywhere. Everywhere needs to be accountable. That is, when I read that in my own backyard, that's disgusting how many cases are unsolved. Like, no justice for any of them? Are you kidding me? There is a woman who lost 2 of her brothers because they got killed, and she still has not gotten justice. They still haven't found the murderer. That is sickening. There's no justice for all of our fallen brothers and sisters. Whether you're black, whether you were in the protests, people are still dying. Like, people are still dying today. I just saw an article of somebody passed away this morning because of what was it? He was he was sleeping in his car.
Yeah, and Wendy's thought
Wendy's thought he was
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, they called the police instead of just calling a tow truck.
Yeah,
or instead of just confronting the issue themselves, they called the police, and the police shot him dead in his car.
In a Wendy's parking lot because they thought he was a threat, and he was African American. You know how fucked up that is? I know a lot of homeless people. At one time, my family was homeless. Okay? We lived in a trailer. We didn't know where our next meal came from. Just to not even get talked to, just to get shot in your car because you were trying to sleep somewhere because you had nowhere else to sleep, that is not right.
Yeah.
Ty, anything else you'd like to add? Oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Before.
My list I want to get through.
I thought he was frozen again.
Yeah, I thought he was frozen again.
I think am I good? Am I
Yeah, you are.
You're good.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. Okay, and I just wanted. I think it's important to point out that a lot of this racism and a lot of this systematic oppression comes from where a lot of nastiness in the world comes from, and that is fear.
Right. Speak it. Fear. Listen, there's a great quote by Malcolm X. It's MLK. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I think Teddy Roosevelt said that.
Was that Teddy?
I think that was Teddy Roosevelt.
Fact check me. I don't want to give wrong credit to wrong people, but that quote sticks with me every day. Fear. We do not fear fear, but fear itself. And it's the truth. We have nothing to fear. Yeah, we do, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't have to fear using our First Amendment right. We shouldn't have to fear to use our Second Amendment, bear arms. I was telling you guys, if you're going to get shot by a toy gun because you have a toy gun, like Tamir Rice, just imagine if he had a real gun. Just imagine. Paint that picture in your head. If he had a real gun, what would have happened? Maybe the same thing. Maybe it would have got a little bit more brutal. But just imagine that. You can't even play with a toy gun, but yet in our Second Amendment rights, we're allowed to have real guns, and people are getting shot over both. So like, what? I don't see where the connection is. I don't. It's very sickening. It really is. It boils me. But go ahead, Ty.
But yeah. It comes from a place of fear.
Right.
And this fear then is very real, that if, the minorities are able to rise up.
What's up, Shakira?
She joined us.
Hey, guys.
Hey, hold up. Wait, hold up. 1 second. Everyone, please introduce Shakira. We met her at the Shillington protest, and she's organizing a protest at on Juneteenth, the actual day of freedom. So everyone, please warm welcome Shakira. She's a great friend of sister. All right. Thank you for joining, Shakira. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I was listening to some of the things that you guys were saying, and I was over here like, wait a minute, I gotta explain some stuff to you.
Right.
Right now, the cop that shot that man,
right.
He didn't shoot him in his car. He shot him in his back as he ran away.
Oh
and
my
that's
gosh.
exactly what happened to Walter Scott, another black man that ran away, and the cop shot him in his
Yep.
back. They made that illegal. So people are saying that it's justified because there was a tussle. That man ran away and got shot in his back. So the cop is fired right now.
Okay.
So the next thing that needs to happen is he needs to go to jail.
Yes,
Because
yes.
He was looking to shoot someone that night.
Yes, he was.
He was very cooperative.
Yes.
He was cooperative with the cops.
Right.
He was so nice.
Right.
He was so nice.
Right.
All he was doing was sleeping.
Right.
So right now we need Breonna Taylor's murderers to go to jail.
Yes, preach
and
it.
We need his murderers to go to jail, and they're dragging their feet. They're writing Black Lives Matters on streets. We're not asking for you to write Black Lives Matter on streets. We're asking you to change the fucking cops and change what they do, because they're killing us.
Yes.
That's right.
They don't get the point. It's passing their head. They're like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but we're not going to do what they're asking.
Right.
We need to get this shit done, and we need to put our foot on their necks, and we can't stop. We just can't stop. We just have to keep going.
No.
We just have to keep going.
No.
This is bad.
White silence is violence.
Seriously, it's getting bad.
It's getting bad. Like we.
But then again, it's getting good because we're weeding themselves out.
Right.
And we're seeing now.
They
stay
know.
away from.
Yes, they know that they're getting their power taken away. So they're trying to do as much as they can while they still have the power.
Exactly, like they did back in the day.
And that's still sickening. That's sickening that they think that way. That they can just do whatever they want because they know the power is getting taken away. They know change is coming. And they can't handle it. They Shakira, you weren't here. Like, I called everyone personally, okay, before all this. Every one panel member on this panel, I called each of them personally. I had an interruption and an error message on every single one of the panel. They do not want us to talk. They keep wanting us to silence ourselves. They listen. I know they listen. I've had people, I know they listen. They're listening right now. They're watching me. Hey, what's up? Fuck you, Trump. They don't want us to talk. They want us to be scared. They want us to be oppressed. They want us to silence us. But the thing is, you can't silence over 7 billion people. Seriously.
We're not stopping.
We're not stopping until we get system change, policy change. Motherfuckers losing their jobs.
Justice
people
for all.
actually realizing the problem.
I'm not going to feel good until I see all my fallen brothers and sisters get the exact justice they deserve. The exact justice. Like you said, I'm petitioning to get a street in Shillington right here. It's called the George Floyd Memorial Street. I don't want Black Lives Matter painted on the street. Yes. I just want the street name in honor of him. And
where can I sign?
I'll send you.
Oh, we got the link for you, girl.
And like, that's the thing. Like they're just trying to give us shit. It's like Obama. They gave us Obama. They gave it everybody said it for years. We have never had a black man in the office. said it for years, and they just gave it to us. They said, here, shut up. Here, shut up. It's like these streets. I really like the streets. They're very colorful and vibrant.
I like them too.
But they're not getting the justice done. The streets are out there protesting. They can't talk. They can't talk.
That's right.
Breonna Taylor's dead, and her killers are still getting paid.
Right, Breonna killers, yeah, they're still getting paid.
So many officers that have killed people that never lost their job, never saw a day off the job. They just went on moving like nothing ever happened.
Derek, who killed George Floyd, the family is putting a new suit against him because they found out that even though he's fired and still going to jail, his benefit package still was going to grant him $1 million.
Yeah, he can still get over $100 million or $1 million in pension.
$1 million in pension. $1 million in pension he was going to get for killing someone. That's fucked up.
I would also like to add that I saw a comment. I mean, I don't know if this is very factual or not, but it makes a lot of sense. As we all know, as soon as this all happened, Derek's wife came out and said that she was going to file for divorce. So somebody brought up a good point on one of these Facebook comments that, we were all like, yes, girl, file for divorce, whatever. I wasn't that happy for her because if you're a racist, you've been racist. If you kill somebody out of racist reasons, you've been a racist person. And she wasn't a white woman. She was of Asian descent. So she had to have known that he had something going on up here.
And that relates back to what Ty was saying.
Hold on. Sorry. And so I saw this comment on Facebook that it went into detail about how after this whole divorce settlement and everything, he's just going to give her everything in the divorce. She's going to get the house, the car, the everything. She's going to get it all. They don't have kids. And then as soon as all of this is over, oh, well, I lost everything in the divorce. My wife got it all. So the judge is going to give him a little more sympathy. They're not going to have any assets to charge against him. So eventually, since she has all the assets, once this is all over, he's just going to get it all back. If she didn't really leave him and just did that so that he can claim no assets in the trial, then they can just get back together and it literally erases all of it.
Shut the hell up, that sneaky bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's
so I don't know if that's what their plan is, but it makes a lot of sense. It does. It really, she left him because he killed somebody, but he was already a racist before that. He already has had over 15 police brutality complaints against him in his career. And more than that, I'm sure career offenses were not the only ones that he ever committed.
They knew each other. They worked security. Before this incident.
Yep.
They used to work security together. It was a vendetta.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
And this all, like what you just said, like what Scarlett just said, what Ty just said. His wife knew, married to him, so she knew he was racist. She heard what was behind closed doors, and that's exactly what Ty said.
Yep.
He's always heard
those closed door conversations.
What goes behind
volumes.
closed doors. And if you're not, like Ty's doing, if you're not acknowledging it, if you're not speaking up about it, making accountability, then you're just as much as the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, Shakair, Scarlett, thank you guys. Ty still needs to finish his. Go ahead, Ty.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But no, but I was just saying that that a lot of this, a lot of this racism, it all really does stem from fear, and that fear is their own insecurities about their talents and place in this world. Mm-hmm. And they probably should feel quite insecure about that, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But just know that a lot of these, like you said, a lot of these final cries that you hear are the death cries of hopefully a system that is being changed.
Right.
And it's never happened on this level before, and it's never happened in such a time of global vulnerability that is happening right now during COVID. And then my final point is, I'm a scientist.
Yeah, preach it.
I work in a lab, and I don't see a lot of black people in that lab, and I think that's kind of ridiculous.
It is.
Again,
It
and
is.
It certainly has nothing to do with Black America's ability to do science and has everything to do with the systematic racism that's happening.
Exactly. And we're live.
All right.
Welcome back. What's going on, people? So we've joined.
We're down to
We're down to 4. We lost some people. We gained some people. But so since John's got 10 minutes, that's perfect because like the last 8 minutes and 46 seconds, I wanted to dedicate a part to George and George Floyd. So here's an interesting fact that Scarlett researched about him that I didn't know and she didn't know. We researched. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so he gave me the task to research about George Floyd, and the first article that I found on the New York Times about his life, it was in the first paragraph. It said that a friend of his he grew up with said that on the first day of 11th grade, or was it the last day? Oh, last day. Last day of 11th grade, George Floyd looked at his friend and said, "I just want to do something that touches the world." And, I mean, for them at that time, that meant the NBA or NFL. Right. I mean, they were in the sports. They were, trying to do something that they felt could get them ahead in life, and something that to them touching the world was to be, higher up in sports and things like that, because they thought that they would help them make an impact. But, I mean, he didn't know it then, but I sure as hell hope he knows it now. He did touch the world. He sure did.
Do you know the person that he said that with?
He said it to one of his childhood friends, but I don't remember.
I think it was Steven Jackson.
I think that was. Yeah.
I think it was. Because they've been like this for years.
Listen to a podcast that Steven Jackson has. He said that him and George Floyd grew up together since they were like in 3rd grade.
I think that might have been him.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, wait, it's right there. Go back up.
Right here.
It says, Jonathan Veal, 45.
Okay.
And that was 3 decades ago. Wow. 30 whole years.
He was a junior.
Almost a senior.
He was named after his dad.
Oh.
He was a junior. If nobody knew about that.
Perry is his middle name.
Perry is his middle name. Shout out Perry. For helping get this all going too, and I'm pretty sure she would like to know that her name correlates with George. Also, it says many people who attended his funeral saw Mr. Floyd as one of them. They didn't see him as like a different person. They saw him as one of their own, one of their family, and like that just speaks volumes to all the people who came and in honor of him. Even the mayor, or was it the governor that broke down crying at his funeral?
I believe that was the mayor of Minneapolis.
Yes, he broke down crying on his knees when he saw George in that casket.
Oh, it's a picture of them.
Right.
At a high school dance. Oh, please show that.
Look at this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Look at this. I want everybody to look at this. Around the it's a prom picture of George and his buddies. Look how happy they are. Look how stylish they are. Just the top.
Tall too.
And tall. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
That was a man who had a life.
He had a life.
Kids.
And his own daughter sat on, it was Steven Jackson's shoulders.
He was born.
And said, "Daddy changed the world."
He was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
I didn't know that.
He was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She is from?
I'm from, the Greensboro area.
Greensboro area. How far is that from Fayetteville?
A few hours and only a couple.
She was in her own backyard. He was born. He has siblings that moved to Texas. Sorry, no, his parents split up. His mother moved him and his siblings to Texas after Fayetteville.
If anyone wants to read this article, it's on the New York Times.
Yes.
If you just Google George Floyd's life, you'll be able to find it. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they have so many pictures of him. They have it broke down into the different sections of from his growing up to just, it moves through the whole.
Listen to this, Nick and DJ. Mr. Floyd saw sports as the path out of the bricks. And so he learned, and so he leaned into his size, his athletic prowess in a sports-obsessed state. He was a tight end. Wow. Mr. Floyd helped power his football team to the state championship in 1992.
Wow.
The state championship. He was a tight end on that team in 1992. He won that team. He helped. He contributed. Bring that community a championship, a state championship. Mm-hmm. He did that. He helped. I want to just honor him a little bit. You know? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people are saying how much of a shitty person he was. And how many people want to say, oh, you know, it was a counterfeit bill. I've worked at a speedway. Okay? I've worked at a gas station. Yes. If we see a counterfeit bill, or it is to be known counterfeit, we have to alert the police. But that does not mean...
We're actually supposed to check the bill first.
We're supposed to check the bill first. So we need to find out if that clerk actually checked the bill. Or he just called the cops out of nowhere. Then we alert the cops. That's what we were taught in a speedway. But that does not excuse a cop to be the judge, the executioner, or the jury. And just like I was telling you guys, if we had more people in the community that would have known the store clerk, that would have known George, they would have been able to talk it out. Yo, give this guy the money back. Yo, are you sure it was a counterfeit bill? And then the cop could have respectfully said, if it was counterfeit, I maybe have to take you to jail, but not take his life.
Right.
You know? And I didn't know that. He went to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, bro. Johnny Manziel.
I didn't see that.
Right there. 2 years later to Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah. He went from South Florida CC.
From South Florida CC. And
as a, what does it say? Power forward.
Power forward. He played basketball, too. Football and basketball. He had life.
He got he got a basketball scholarship to South Florida CC.
Wow. Right.
He got a basketball scholarship.
And people want to say he's this bad guy.
He was a starter and scored 12 to 14 points and 7 to 8 rebounds, which I don't know basketball.
That's good.
That sounds like a good thing.
That's good. In college, not in, Nick, not in the NBA, but college is good. That's good for college. That's really good. If you 12 to 14 points and 7 rebounds, that's contribution. A game, that's his contribution.
Man.
He made mixtapes. He appeared as Big Floyd on mixtapes. John,
Floyd.
You're a music artist. Big Floyd.
Wow. His mixtapes were created by DJ Screw.
DJ Screw.
Oh, you mean, whoa, wait, you like the DJ Screw?
The DJ Screw.
Like Texas.
The DJ Screw.
From straight Texas.
Texas.
He rapped about chopping blades, which is driving cars with oversized rims.
Yep.
And his third word, pride.
Yeah, and what does that say?
What's his name? He just by Big Floyd, you said?
Big Floyd. Big Floyd.
That's why they cool. Okay.
So he had a string of arrests. So an important piece that we skipped. So he went from South Florida CC. He transferred into Texas A&M. Texas A&M.
1995.
And then he returned back to the Third Ward, where it says he returned back without a degree and didn't stay at Texas A&M long, but it doesn't say why. And it says that several of his classmates did not live past their 20s. Because the Third Ward is like
really bad.
A really, really bad area of where they're at in Houston.
Right.
And it says, of course, that he had arrests in Houston. But it moves on to say that Steven Jackson, the retired professional basketball player, met Mr. Floyd and
a year or two
before Mr. Jackson joined the NBA. They had sports in common, and Mr. Jackson said that they began to call each other twin as a term of endearment.
Wow.
Stacks.
Wow.
He said the only difference between me and Georgie is the fact that I had more opportunities. If George would have had more opportunities, he might have been a pro athlete in 2 sports.
Wow.
I'm gonna cry.
After
him Georgie, twin.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't see, like, he even knew he had more opportunities than George. He knew it. He recognized it. He knew it was wrong. Mm-hmm. And that shouldn't have happened because George was tall. He was athletic. He had a big prowess to him. And he still was subjected to racism, racial profiling. We don't want you here. We don't want you here. He went from winning a championship, a state championship in 1992 to going from Florida and then in 1995 transferring to Texas. If you're telling me he's a bad guy and okay, I get it. We all have a past. But don't overshadow his excellence.
Because, hold on, it moves on from his past.
Exactly.
So we just went through the period of time. He had an arrest record. He spent some time in prison. After prison, it says Mr. Floyd became even more committed to his church. He spent a lot of time with his daughter that was born after his release.
Reformed. He reformed himself.
He came out of the struggle and tried to do better things for his life. When you are in that environment, many people become a product of their environment. It is hard to get out of those kinds of situations, especially when you're not presented with the opportunities that some might have. Myself as a white woman, if I grew up in the 3rd Ward with George Floyd, I would have been able to make it out a lot easier than he would have been able to. The opportunities that I'm able to gain access to as a white woman, not only gain access to, but that are just simply presented to me as a white woman that aren't presented or as accessible to a black person. The opportunities held him back, and he still found a way out of that, still found a way to become more dedicated to his church. It says that he helped baptize people on the basketball courts.
And
yep, we baptized people on the court, and we've got this big old horse trough. He dragged that thing by himself onto the court.
That's what I'm talking about. People like to only nitpick. People like to only talk about certain pieces of history.
He was involved with a Christian program.
People like to, when they see that you're switching their life around, that's when they try to like
push you back down.
Thank you. Right. When they see you succeeding, they try and drop you back down with them.
Exactly.
It says that he became very involved in a program with a history of taking men to Minnesota from the 3rd Ward in Houston and providing them with drug rehabilitation and job placement services. That was what George Floyd was involved in. Rehabilitating lives, changing lives.
Yes. And
giving the opportunities to people that he may have never had for himself.
Yes, and he realized that, and other people realized it. Even she doesn't even know him. She even said that she realized if she grew up with George Floyd, as a white woman, she'd have a lot easier time getting out of that place than him as a black man. And that's what, like, people need to shut up about. People need to talk about all of the history, not just nitpick. You need to talk about all of it, not just nitpick. Mm-hmm. Like I was saying earlier, why do we have to always remember and get 9/11 shoved down our throats? But when we want to talk about slavery happened longer than when 9/11 did. 9/11 happened 19 years ago. Slavery's been around for thousands of years. And 9/11 only happened in America. Slavery's happened all over the world. So before you got to go, John, I want to play your song because that's also...
I would also like to mention real quick, the end of the article pretty much wraps up saying that throughout the rest of his life, he was known as a man who helped rehabilitate. He moved on to get the security job at the club that he worked at with Derek Chauvin. And it says in the article that he was known for being the employee that protected everyone. He went so far as to help employees to their cars at night because he was known as the protector.
And Derek had a vendetta. He didn't like how...
Are you serious?
Yes, bro. He worked
with Derek in the club.
George and Derek worked together at a nightclub at security.
George was incredibly well liked at the nightclub that they worked at. I mean, there's pictures of George Floyd with all these beautiful women around him, and like the article just said, he was well liked. He would talk to everybody. He was engaged in his job. He was good at his job. People liked him, and I guarantee you that Derek did not like that.
No, he did not like. Derek was getting overshadowed by a black guy. He didn't like that, so he got a police force. So he got a job as a police because you can do that when you go from security. Because you have some sort of, background in like...
You don't even have to have any kind of background to become a police officer.
How many hours does it take?
It depends on state, but I think it averages about 600 to 800 hours of time to become a police officer.
You know how fucking long it takes to be a pilot? Over 30,000 hours.
Takes 1,500. So 600 to 800 to become a police officer. 1,500 plus to become a cosmetologist. To do fucking hair.
To do hair.
To do this. I did this.
But to protect and serve. Only 800 hours. That's what we need to change. And in memorial and honor of George's great life, I don't give a fuck. In honor of all of this, in honor of George, everybody wants to keep coming up to me and saying, "Oh, he was just this bad guy. He did assault. He did battery, assault and battery. We don't know. Nobody's not that I've looked at, but like Nick said, nobody knows if that clerk, or you said that too. Nobody knows if that clerk actually fucking checked the bill. He just called the cops.
And even if you did, nobody should have to die over.
And nobody should die over a $20 counterfeit dollar bill. Money is not that important. I'm sorry. Money's not that fucking important. Money comes and goes.
Right.
And when a man is crying and screaming, "I can't breathe," and calling for his late mama.
It's printed. It's made out of material and printed. So let me just play this song real quick for you, bro.
Okay. You're good.
This is
2% too, so
Frostbite, and then we'll end it, okay, guys?
Okay. Sing if you know the words.
I do. We're already about to start singing.
Let me tell him something real quick before
the cops start to put
the knee on my neck. Rest in peace to George Floyd.
Yeah, I seen that video, so
now I'm paranoid. Tell me why I gotta fight.
Tell me why I gotta speak.
That's oppression on repeat.
Take a look up on your phone.
Can't leave well enough alone. Mom screaming Black Lives.
I almost did it.
A lot of my people
scared to admit it.
I wanna bounce that they can never count it. Now we gotta speak up in the talk because the counterfeit. Me and on his neck and he told you.
I can't breathe.
The badge upon the sleeve, and the boy was 17.
Feds. Too many black widows who still caught in the web. Cause my people use the beating, quit the stealing, quit the looting. Have you read the Constitution?
So many black friends, but never came around with what was aiming the MAC-10.
I wanna smack with my backhand.
Still living back then. BLM, young lives matter. Don't be acting like you blind, boy. BLM.
Gotta reach the finish line, boy. BLM.
Wanna stay alive, huh?
BLM.
I'm trying to stay alive, huh?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, big bro.
Right, go ahead, big bro.
I forget my youngest brother's verse, but it's okay.
Oh,
it's your
Derek told me it was your big brother.
I thought it was your big bro.
No, I only have the younger brother. That's my younger brother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guys, right there, that's him. Right there, that's him.
The Frostbite.
system that